All right. Well, sorry. Missed you guys last week. We were on the road last week as well, and this is the end of this is the third trip in 2 weeks for us, and so we're coming to the end of that. It's also our toughest road trip of the year in terms of competition. We get Wyoming and Colorado State. Last week both were ranked. I think Wyoming dropped into honorable mention this week, but it's always a tough road trip and one that we really try and get up for. I think that we're looking at probably the strongest, the combination of the two teams have been in this road trip, but I think probably Colorado State is down a little bit from last year, but Wyoming is certainly up, so we've got two big matches to prepare for. Going back, we had New Mexico State last Tuesday, and then at San Jose on Saturday. Got some decent performances. After the New Mexico State match, we were disappointed in where we were with some of our outside hitting still, and had to switch up the libero again, and so we really kind of had a little bit of a come to Jesus on Thursday last week, and I think on Saturday played our best match of the year so far, most complete. Great performances from different people: Devin Sowers, Simone Henderson, Julia Warren in the backcourt. And so we feel like we got a lot out of that. San Jose State is probably the most improved team in our conference this year, so that was a good road win, and happy to be moving forward. I think this week we played CSU Thursday. They're led by Adriana Colbert. She was the preseason conference player of the year. She sets out of the back row and hits in the front row, which is different from last year. She was just a hitter, so she's doing more, or being asked to do a lot more. They're playing well, but I think it's a match that we can prepare well for. It's some of the things they run we've seen from a couple other teams this year already, and we're excited to get up there and get after it with them. Always a great rivalry. I think it's one of the rivalries that's good for our conference in volleyball because it draws really well both places, and just is one of the really strong rivalries. So we have that. And then on Saturday we have Wyoming. It's their Dig Pink game. They play in their small gym. It'll be sold out. I think it probably already is, and that'll be a crazy match with just their fans and what they're doing. So they're having a good year. They play a similar offense. They're both playing 6-2 offenses, and it's something we've seen a lot of already, so I think we'll be able to prepare for it. And I really like the direction we're heading with a couple of our players right now. Devin Sowers really picked it up this week and had a huge week for us. And Simone Henderson's second in the conference in hitting right now, so she's picked it up. And we're leading the conference in blocking right now. So there's a lot of good things starting to happen. I feel like we're playing better ball. I think this road trip comes at a really good time for us in terms of how we're playing and what we're doing. Questions?
You said Colorado State's down a little bit this year?
Well, they lost 3 starters that were all conference. I think, yeah, down for them. They're ranked 21st today or something like that. But, last year they were as high as 7 or 8. So they're playing good ball. I mean, they always play good ball. But I think they're I don't think they're as dominant as they were last year, but I think they're really good, and I think they have great leadership from Colbert. They're strong in the middle, strong on the outside. It's a different look. It's a different offense than they've played before, and I think it's something that's good. It's like I said, it's something we've seen a lot of, so we feel more prepared for it. But they're a really good team, and they're always going to be, and we just have to play our best match up there.
What's kind of the key to being on the top of them?
Well, I think we've got to serve well enough to keep their middles out of the game, which we've been serving really well. And then we've got to really take Colbert out of the match in terms of the offensive side of things. She's going to do her thing with defense, but I think she's the premier hitter in the conference, and we've got with them playing a 6-2, she sets and then she hits, and there's a lot more responsibility. So we've got to really feed her balls and try and take her out offensively a little bit. She's really good, and when I had the Mountain West All-Star team this summer, she traveled with us, and she was one of our best players, and really like having a coach on the floor, really that talented. So.
Lions got another one too. He wants me to ask you about the atmosphere at Colorado State. Like, how tough is it to play in that environment?
Well, it's always tough to play because you're always playing with 4,000 or 5,000 people there, and you know it's a big arena. They probably come as close to filling it as anybody up there, and they do really good things with it. But you know, it's a fun atmosphere. In volleyball, it's harder to play when the fans are right on top of the court. They're a little bit farther pushed back there, so that helps out a little bit with the interference of the fans, I'll say. Yes, sir.
Coach, you're 9-7 at the midpoint. You got 15 games left. There's no tournament. So, what is it going to take to get an NCAA bid from starting right now? You're at 9-7. What are you going to have to do to get a bid?
Well, we have 2 wins over top 50 teams already. We're a little bit down with a couple of our losses hurt us. LSU hurt us. Ball State hurt us. But we still have 5 matches against top 50 teams just in the conference, which will help a lot. But I still think it's a year the conference will get 2 bids. I think we've got to finish in the top 2. And, you know, I really think this week is a tough week. We need to get a couple wins this week, or at least one, and come back ready to go. Because for us, this is undoubtedly the hardest road trip. I think it is for all the teams this year because both of the teams are really good. If we can do that, I think our schedule loosens up. I mean, the teams we played have done really well in our preseason. USC is now #1, you know, and they started the year at like 21. They're 16 or 17-0, you know. Santa Clara is back in the rankings, and we beat them 3-0 here. You know, I mean, it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time in our sport too, because like basketball, we're finally at the point where if you're not prepared, you can lose any night. If you're prepared, you can beat anybody on any night, and we're seeing a lot of that. A lot of upsets, a lot of different things that, you know, you just didn't used to see. The dominant teams dominated, and now it's becoming so balanced. And in our conference, Wyoming, we beat Nevada 3-1 here last week, and Nevada took Wyoming out this weekend, you know, and I would have never thought that, but they played great. They had a huge match. One of their kids had 31 kills in the match, and I wouldn't have seen that, but that's what's happening, and it was shocking. And Boise State had, I think Fresno State at home, and Boise was picked 2nd, and Fresno was picked like 9th, and Fresno had 3 or 4 match points to win the match there. They ended up losing in 5, but that's how balanced it is versus the past.
What would give yourself a grade?
Another grade? Before this week, probably a C. And I think, you know, working on chemistry and working on the things we needed to this week, a couple lineup shifts, I felt like I said, I felt like Saturday was our best match, and I'd probably give that a B+, maybe even an A, but we've got to maintain it now.
Have you figured out the situation on the girl, or are you still trying to figure that out?
Well, what we figured out is that we have 2 lineups, and in matches we have to play 2 lineups a lot. But I think that there's 4 kids that can play that position. We're getting numbers sporadically out of them, and then we always have Warren to fall back on if we need to, and that's certainly something that we've discussed as well, and part of the I won't say plan for the future, but it's definitely something we've practiced if we need to move into that.
What does about the libero this year that it's just kind of, it seemed like it's been a hard thing to try to, find the one person that would be the go-to in that?
Yeah, well, Mercedes Pacheco, who's from town here, I think really is a great person for that position, but she's a freshman, and the biggest change in pace is pace. I mean, the biggest change from high school to college is pace, and I think it got the best of her for a while, but she's playing better ball again. Ashley Kelsey's really stepped up. She played the position on Saturday and did really well. And then, like I said, if we need to move to Warren, we have that option, and we've now practiced it after last week. We spent some time on that as well if we have to go back to that.